The second week of testimony in the Diddy trial is definitely starting out with a bang. So, this is an article from CNN giving a rundown of the takeaways from the Diddy trial. Don Richard was on the stand today, as well as one of Cassie's former friends. So, let's just jump into it. There's a lot to take away from court today. Cassie Ventura is no longer on the stand, but she was the central character in testimony from three witnesses on Monday in the federal criminal case against Sean Diddy Combs. Pop singer Don Richard, Ventura's former best friend, and one of Combs' former assistants each testified about their interactions with Ventura as the prosecution sought to bolster Ventura's testimony last week that Combs physically abused her and controlled her life for over a decade. The prosecution alleges that Combs and some in his inner circle used threats, violence, drugs, bribery, arson, kidnapping, and lies to coerce Ventura and another woman into participating in what he called freak-offs and to protect the music mogul's reputation. In contrast, the defense has contended that Combs was at times jealous, has substance abuse issues, and described his relationship with Ventura as mutually violent, as opposed to the head of an organized criminal enterprise. They have also argued the women consented to the actual arrangements. Richard, a former member of the musical group Danity Kane, testified Monday that she frequently saw Combs assault Ventura, saying that she'd seen him punch, choke, drag, slap, and kick her. After one such assault in 2009, Ventura wore sunglasses to try to hide the injury, Richard said. Richard and a friend, singer Kalina Harper, also wore sunglasses to have solidarity, to be a friend, to be a support system for someone who needed it, she testified. The jury saw a photo of the three women wearing sunglasses after the assault. I guess this is what this picture is depicting right here. Some members of Combs' security staff witnessed the violence towards Ventura, Richard testified, but when they did, they wouldn't react. They wouldn't do anything. The defense questions Richard's memory and motives. Under cross-examination, Richard faced questions about her memory of the assaults and her personal motives. In the start of her testimony Friday afternoon, Richard testified she saw Combs assault Ventura in 2009 in the kitchen after she was cooking eggs. The next day, Combs told Richard and another witness to remain silent, saying where he comes from, people go missing if they talk, she testified. Defense attorney Nicole Westmoreland suggests Richard's account of the kitchen incident and its aftermath has changed over time. Richard says she's recounted it over time to the best of her recollection. Richard filed a lawsuit last September accusing Combs of actual battery, actual harassment, and false imprisonment, among other allegations. Combs has denied the allegations. Westmoreland asked Richard if she filed a lawsuit against Combs to get a lot of money. Richard denied that, but says she wants to be compensated for the work she put forth. Ventura's former best friend says Combs hit her with a wooden hanger. So this is Carrie Morgan right here. It says Carrie Morgan, the second witness Monday, testified that she was best friends with Ventura until shortly after she was assaulted by Combs in 2018. He came up behind me and choked me and then boomeranged a wooden hanger at my head, Morgan testified. I had finger marks on my neck. Morgan testified she was planning on filing a lawsuit after the assault but didn't do it. She met with Ventura about a month later, and Ventura told her she would be receiving $30,000 from Combs, she said. Ventura also told her she was over-exaggerating, Morgan said. So this is what she's depicting right here, the fingerprints on her neck. Morgan says she signed an NDA or non-disclosure agreement that day and hasn't spoken with Ventura since. They had been best friends since 2001. The reason I stopped speaking with her is because she was not supportive of me after that incident, Morgan testified on cross-examination. Morgan says she's testifying because she was subpoenaed and didn't want to be in court. I have moved on with my life away from all these people and the problems, she testified. On cross-examination, Morgan testified that Ventura was jealous of Kim Porter, the late actress who shared 3 children with Combs, and of Combs' other girlfriend, Gina. Ex-friend vividly remembers 2 assaults, So here's Carrie Morgan in real life, not a court drawing. It says, Morgan also said she vividly remembered 2 incidents in which Combs assaulted Ventura and said he was not intoxicated or under the influence on either occasion. During one of the assaults, Morgan asked one of Combs' security guards to intervene, but he responded that he wasn't going to do anything, she said. The other assault occurred in Jamaica around 2013 when Combs dragged Ventura by the hair and pushed her to the ground, where she hit her head on the brick walkway. Combs had complained Ventura was taking too long in the bathroom before dragging her down the hallway, Morgan testified. I heard Cassie screaming, so I ran into the hallway where she was, she said, describing the screams as guttural. He dragged her down probably like a 50-yard hallway by her hair and then took her out in the front driveway and pushed her down where she hit her head on the brick. After he pushed her down to the ground, Ventura eventually got up and fled barefoot into a wooden area, and once Morgan found her, they hid, crouched down in a ditch for what felt like hours, Morgan testified. Morgan also offered further details on the aftermath of the March 2016 assault in the Intercontinental Hotel in LA that has been the central visual evidence in the case. CNN first published the video of the incident last year. Morgan said she had been staying at Ventura's apartment at the time, and Ventura came home with a black eye. About 30 minutes later, Combs arrived, yelling and banging on the door with a hammer. Morgan said she was freaking out and called Combs' security guard and assistant, hoping they'd get him to stop. Ventura just sat on the couch, Morgan recalled, unmoved. I don't think she cared if he came in and took her out, she testified. Eventually, Combs left and did not gain access to the apartment. The police arrived at some point, but Ventura wouldn't cooperate with the officers. Morgan said she would tell Ventura to leave Combs, but she would say she couldn't. Remember, he was her boss. He was supposed to be releasing music with her. She was working, but she was also working during the freak-offs or whatnot. And also remember, she was hooked on opiates, and that's also part of the control tactic along with the violence that they are talking about during this testimony. Something that TMZ is reporting on, they released the names and the faces of some of these freak-off escorts. Diddy's alleged ex-workers have finally been unmasked as week 2 of testimony gets underway in the music mogul's federal racketeering and ex-trafficking trial in New York City. On Monday, prosecutors released a document dump of exhibits entered into trial evidence, dropping an avalanche of photos and other information. Some of the pics showed the faces of the ex-workers Diddy allegedly hired to be transported across state lines for freak-offs with his significant others, including Cassie. Feds define a freak-off as Diddy, a girlfriend, and a male ex-worker engaging in Marathon X sessions that were often recorded by the Bad Boy Records CEO inside hotel rooms. Prosecutors say Diddy forced or coerced his girlfriends into participating in the freak-offs. I'm just going to show a few of these pictures. This is Skylar. This is Jonathan. This is Ash. This is Brian from Craigslist. This is Greg. This is Jake. This is Johnny. He was booked through an agency called Latin Men. And this is Jules. So this is just 8 of the 13. They did have more pictures in the lineup. There were more men, like these 2 men right here were just classified as unidentified men. So now these men, their lives are being put on blast, but so is Cassie's life. So are these other people's lives that are being dragged through this. So they're part of this whole scheme of things. Very interesting stuff. Join the conversation. Let me know what you think about the start of week 2. It sounds like we're going to get a lot of information dumped on us. So let me know what you think so far. Like, comment, and share.